is going on? Oh boy, we're not supposed to be here. We're supposed to be here. How is it going, everybody? Welcome to an Osiris League match that is about to get kicked off in 12 seconds between the ex-Season 1 champions of Osiris League against a newcomer team in JST. This is for all the marbles. JST are looking to try to knock OV out of the top 16 in Osiris League Season 3. I don't know if that's a thing. We see Slouty, John Wick, Autumn, and company coming back into action once more, pouring onto the field as OV are potentially gonna get knocked out of this Osiris League season if they don't win this match. We've seen OV in the past, of course, take that first season victory, and right there, Kingdom 52, and a very, very strong lineup in here. Once more, these folks, Slouty and company, are ready to rock and roll. This will be a close game. I agree. I think this is going to be a very, very, very interesting game. The Korean Kingdom in JST, the Korean players from JST, are super, 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 super interesting. They play Ark a bit unconventionally to a certain extent. You'll see what I mean once the match undergoes. You can see these guys are very well coordinated even on the what are these A6, A7? These guys changed their profile pictures so that each team, mid team, A team, B team, look at the coordination. That's how you know who is who and what's what. What an amazing match we're about to see, ladies and gentlemen, as the red team does indeed take their first obelisk in the match. That's right, and 2 outposts already. The folks of OV are no suckers, though. They got their 2 outposts, and they're on their way to their obelisk, as well as a second obelisk right here. Let's go take a sneak peek and see if anyone is hopping around. Oh, hello. Here's our sneaky march trying to move around to get into the obelisk. Unfortunately, marching straight to the obelisk is never a good idea. You want to march towards the caravans first and hop nodes to gain that extra march speed if you have a Bell Sirius in there potentially, or well, gain that extra march speed and try to get into that obelisk before the other team has their defense set up. At this point, this building is empty. There is maybe 1 march that hit it. Well, I guess Slouty is in here, so that's good news. Slouty sitting here. Ooh, very unconventional pairing too. Cao Cao Guan Yu, probably the T1 Cavs are in here. And so he is holding this, which is great. We've seen that play happen multiple times. People trying to yoink an obelisk early on. And if you snooze, you might lose in here. Did I bet on this match? I do not remember if I bet on this match or not. I think I bet on JST. Just for the S's and G's of it. Here comes the JST rally taking out the defense, the initial defense out of the obelisk, so there's space for the full rally to get in here and protect their own obelisk. Obelisks are very important buildings in the early stages of the game. For the first 30 minutes, they're crucial as you gain teleports, 5 when you occupy them for the first time, and 1 every 5 minutes occupying an obelisk. By the 30th minute of the match, if you use Divine Aid twice and get 10 teleports from that, you're gonna score a sweet 30 teleports, and after that, the obelisks are just 20 points per minute. Both teams so far occupying the buildings they're supposed to be occupying at this time frame, and in about a minute and a half, they're going to be able to start occupying the remaining of the map. By the looks of it, OV are positioning themselves in front of their Shrine of War, getting ready to potentially go on the aggressive side with when the rally on the Desert Altar of the red team comes out. Before we start this cast, very quickly, just so you know, a few terminologies. When I say a building is supposed to belong to either team, what I mean is the Osiris map is a mirrored map. Therefore, as you can see in this line right here, this is a red building, and its counterpart mirrored map would be this building right here, the Desert Altar. It looks like JST are aggressing towards the blue Desert Altar early on. Do they have their Sky Altar secured? It looks like they have a good proportion of people in there. They also have a good amount of folks coming in to defend their own Desert Altar. Great stuff. What's up, AG? How you doing, homie? They have a good defense early on. Looks like OV are going to secure their own Sky Altar as well. JST already have their Shrine of Life ready to rock and roll. extra Guan Cao Cao for extra march speed. Guan's expertise, extra march speed when moving out of a structure. Typical Slouty. Of course, Slouty micro-optimizing to no extent. He probably hopped in between caravans, and that most likely triggered that as well. And so in a few moments, we'll see the buildings open up. 9 seconds, JST is aggressing. Who's going to pick up the building first? Looks like JST are trying to come in and potentially yoink an altar early on. Let's see who gets that first occupation. The building goes down, and it turns red. JST take away the desert altar, and OV taking the sky altar away. That's fine. This is not a crucially crazy thing. There's only one march in here. The open field should be able to clear this out fairly quickly. That's still a great start. But JST on the desert altar that is blue have a massive presence. No one to protect this building, though. They're going to need a garrison commander better than Ethelfled. Hello? Anyone? You guys really need to hold on to this building. If it goes down, it doesn't matter that you fight on the open field. But there it is, a different commander in place. And we have a Constantine in here that can go in as well. A Richard that could go in as well and get into the garrison. Every second that this building remains red is an advantage for JST. They're taking their time and taking away points from OV. OV is doing the same with the Sky Altar, but JST managed to take their own Sky Altar back very, very quick. And now every moment that goes by, there's a Wuzetian in this desert altar, and oh boy, red marches all over the place. They need to get in this building. OV in trouble. They might even lose first occupation of this building. There's a minute down, and that's 150 points OV have not made. They are in the lead by 1 point. They're in the lead by 1 point right now. JST just need to keep holding on to this building. They have the open field presence to be able to refill this building nonstop and just destroy these 1-by-1 marches by OV. Here comes a rally nearby, but I don't think that rally is on its way here. It's just going to whoosh nearby as Slouty is probably going to go attack the Shrine of War, the red Shrine of War, early on. But Slouty, you really need to get your Shrine of War, your Desert Altar back. 2 minutes down, 300 points out the window. And OV are going to need their building back, and they're going to need it quick. They are losing points by the minute. And JST are doing a fantastic job at holding onto this Desert Altar. If they manage to hold on to the Desert Altar for another minute, which is going to be a very uphill battle, 750 points worth of first occupation will go in their name. At this point, OV still leading by 1 point, but momentarily, when buildings start locking in the favor of all the teams, essentially, that's when the points per minute game is going to shift, as you'll see that the folks in red are currently holding one more altar than the folks in blue, OV, and the folks in blue, to make matters worse, might even lose first occupation. 29 seconds, we're going to keep our eyes here as buildings are blinking all over the place. The red Desert Altar is being attacked as well. We'll go take a look at that momentarily, but I really want to see if OV can manage to swarm the life out of this building before it's too late. Can they get back their building before first occupation happens? Oh no, that can be a terrible early blow for the folks in OV. Oh my goodness, 5 seconds and the building is looking healthy. 2-1, JST stealing first occupation away from OV. 750 points in the lead right there. And the lead keeps growing every moment as they do own one building more than the folks in OV. 150 points lead. And once all the buildings finish locking down, which there is one more waiting, and there finally OV managed to stop the bleeding. Too little, too late in terms of first occupations. This is not the worst thing on earth. They can still definitely come back into this. All is good, but this is a great start from JST, who are showing OV what they're capable of. JST's Shrine of War is just milking Slouty down as time goes on. Very unsuccessful rally right there. Add to that, the Sky Altar very well protected by JST. Lord have mercy if the folks of OV cannot take this back. That's how we lost NCB from these Korean guys, by 1 first occupation difference, says H. Penigma. Penigma is someone, a very, very known member in the community, someone with a lot of experience in Ark of Osiris as well as Osiris League Wars and all that good stuff. And he's telling us right here, that's how JST beat them, by first occupation. So that's going to be big trouble for OV. 2 minutes and 45 seconds until the Ark pops. We'll go take a look at that momentarily. For now, JST are still holding on to their building. There's a swarm still on this building. All they need to do is get more troops in here, and there should be good to go on the defense. On the other hand, on the offensive side, they are getting milked, kind of like Slouty was earlier. These guys are getting milked as Luca's rally is just going to keep going down, and down. For the record, how can you save yourself from this happening to you? Quite frankly, the best way for you to not get milked like this, by milking, I mean essentially they're making the rally stay here until the very end. You disband the rally and instantly solo swarm the building. That'll cause all your marches to take more damage quicker, and you'll get home faster. Getting milked like this is absolutely pointless. The second JST break this rally and swarm the building, they'll get home much quicker than allowing this Atela Takeda to go like this. And so, with all that being said, at this point in time, OV have taken the Shrine of Life away from JST. This is a JST building. Very good stuff by OV. JST, though, are in the lead by 60 points. And listen, ladies and gentlemen, this match is going to be crazy. This match is going to be crazy. HKL is losing to SX54. I mean, if they lose to SX54, someone's trying to get a different placement in the in the playoffs, and I'm gonna laugh really hard if they actually end up losing this match, because they will pretty much make it to the playoffs, but a lot of people are gonna lose their Oryx. Which we never recommend making bets on matches like that. OV, though, are attacking the JST Desert Altar, and there's no defense around here whatsoever. This Desert Altar is going to go down easy peasy, and there's a full Atela Takeda building right now, which is going to be big problem for JST. JST diverted their attention onto the Shrine of Life, which they did take successfully, but now they lost their Desert Altar, and Lord have mercy on us all if, not on us, on JST, if they cannot get this building back in shape. This is how OV get back into this. They are right now 230 points per minute in the lead, which means within, 1700 divided by 2, 9 minutes, if they maintain this, just by the points per minute, they will be able to come back into this and leave themselves 36 long minutes for successful occupation. Slouty, So, with all that being said, at this stage, Luca is heating. Okay, it's okay. We're just gonna slightly move. Neutral, that's right. We got to take a look at mid real quick as the Ark just popped. By the looks of it, OV are taking this Ark. They dropped it on the red side. Is that a thing? Are OV about to drop the Ark on this side? No, JST took it. And man, the middle fight is crazy. JST dropped the Ark on their side, which is good news for them. Now they're starting to backpedal. The middle side, we completely forgot about the middle as things are going nuts in the buildings all over the place. JST dropping the Ark. A lot of blue presence in this middle. A very small presence by the folks in red. Let's go take a quick peek. If we zoom out, we can see a little bit the colors, or try to see them. I see a lot of blue in here. There are some reds scattered in here, but there's definitely a bit more blue presence as the red team pick up the Ark and then drop it. Here is the thing about getting an Ark at this point. Anytime you pick up an Ark, it's literally, I can click on this and then find the Ark carrier and instantly target them. Any person that picks up an Ark right here, for example, is easily targetable, easily zeroable, destroyable. Down you go, and essentially the name of the game here is let the other team pick up the Ark and instantly swarm the Ark. Even if they gain a tad bit of ground like blue just did, they're going to lose 2-3 marches in the process of doing this. And once you clear out enough marches, you can start gaining that little bit back in your favor. So take a look as OV pick up the Ark, and nobody targets the Ark carrier just yet. He is gaining a little bit of ground, but here comes an Atela Takeda, and there's a swarm on this march, and there goes the Ark carrier right there. That's another march that's not going to be there to help OV. However, OV are just pouring in more and more marches as time goes by. Well, there's this one. Okay, more marches going by and coming in here, and so are JST coming in strong. And so now the real question is how do you move on from here? Picking up an Ark makes you a target and very vulnerable. At this stage, if JST managed to take the Ark, move the Ark even slightly back. I guess that would be like a fair trade. But what we're seeing here is a crazy, crazy fight that is super laggy, where you really need to start targeting your the marches correctly. The way you get out of this pickle is by having a priority list on who you hit. You need to, and there it goes. You need to hit the right marches at the right time. If your whole team is coordinated in hitting the specific commanders based on a list of priority that your team has created, then you'll always be able to successfully put up a fight in middle. If the team, the big cloud of people, start dispersing and everybody hits a different march, then it becomes a lot of 1v1s and you're losing your advantage of being a swarm. So we're going to get into this match right now real quick. But in the meantime, remember, the middle, the most important thing about the middle is you need to prioritize the correct commanders and hit those out of the middle first, and only then you start figuring out your arc. Let's take a quick peek at the rest of the matches. P-Tall ahead of UCS. Our bet on P-Tall seems to be good so far. They are fighting for potentially making it to the playoffs. Wow, we might have to check out that match if this match ends up being a blowout. HKL taking a slight lead back away from SX54. Titans beating so far 49F, and the squad doing what the squad does. Titan a little bit behind. JWM against Rays, very close match. JWM is ahead, but just by a slight bit. And so is 411K against SNO. Oh my lordy almighty, all of these matches are super, super close. I honestly hope all the other content creators are casting a bunch of different matches so you all get to see a bunch of awesome matches, because listen, all of them are super close for a start, and it doesn't look like any team has like the clear advantage. And oh my lordy, OV are still fighting in here for the middle, and JST are doing the same. Where is the arc right now? JST have it, and it is on the blue side. So OV are able to slowly creep their way forward, but the map point per minute game is still in favor of OV by a slight bit. Momentarily, the Desert Ultra, I believe it is, will lock in favor of the red team, and it'll even up the points per minute, leave them in about 500 points per minute worth of a lead. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're enjoying the cast, don't forget to drop a like on the stream, and we're doing everything we can to bring you the best matches and best commentary for Osiris League as possible, out of experience being in a playoff team as well as knowing some of these teams. This is a big problem now for JST. The Ark now has marched a substantial amount towards the OV side, where OV can now get back to it in a very, very rapid pace. While that's going on, nobody is doing anything to counter attack at what's going on in here. The red team needs to start stepping up a little bit their building game if they're going to lose the Ark. They need to be able to react to the action of OV, which is right now focusing in the middle. Unfortunately, by the looks of it, it looks like OV are the ones aggressing on the building game, and they're aggressing hard. This Sky Altar might go down, will most likely go down, and that'll give OV that slight advantage on the points per minute game. They're also aiming at the Shrine of Life, which is very, very problematic for the folks in JST. Now, let's talk a little bit about experience, because experience has a lot to do with what you're seeing on the field right now. As a team that is experienced in Ark of Osiris, the folks in OV and Osiris League in general are aware that that first hiccup is not too big of a deal. They know that regardless of what's happening on the field, they need to keep their plan going, and they need to maintain their calm, and they need to breathe. It might sound stupid, right? Duh, everybody needs to breathe and stay calm, Gecko. It don't work like that. When you're in a match and the middle is going crazy, 90% of the time, teams that are inexperienced have their comms going like this right now, like massive people going crazy in Discord. OV have that experience of knowing how to deal with the pressure, which is their advantage in this match. At this stage, it's very clear that OV started a little bit behind in the middle, but as time went on, they slowly regained control of that middle ground. And the way they did that is through communication, is through playing their game, and it's through not going crazy and not breathing. I can tell you for 100% of a fact that there was quite a bit of quote-unquote panic happening in the middle for JST. I can see it based on how they're bringing commanders in. I can see it based on the fact that they are not coming in a cohesive way like OV were coming in. OV were losing a member, but trickling in more members. So there was a cohesion in the way they came in. JST didn't have that happen, and what ended up happening is all of these marches that you see that are blue are very, very healed up marches, and they are the second or even third wave of marches that made it towards the middle. But the folks of JST did not have these waves come in. You can see 1, 2, 3 going down, and only 2, 3 trying to potentially get there. So it's a thing that it comes with experience. It comes with having the roles and the players knowing what they need to be doing. It looks like the first arc is going in favor of OV indeed. And at this point and at this stage, the question is, when do you give it up? In my opinion, JST need to give it up right now and go for the buildings game and start to regain an advantage in the buildings game. This arc is all but done, and the more people end up coming in towards the middle, the harder it is going to be for them to come back into this. John Wick, the guy who figured out the crazy speed hack or something, he just cruising. He's not crazy. He's marching. He's there getting his march. There's a slight Saladin trying to make his way to John Wick, but it doesn't look like he's gonna get there. For JST right now, they need to regroup. They need to. Okay, let's play our game, boys. They beat us this time. Let's play our game. Come on, we got this. If they slow down what's going on right now and they go back into their play, they start gaining buildings, they start fighting for buildings. They have yet to take a single building away from OV since they took the first occupation of the Desert Altar. Here's an aggressive posture towards the Sky Altar. This is a great beginning of a take of a building. OV are a bit far away in terms of reinforcements, and this is an archer reinforcement, so this guy is going to be fairly useless. This guy is on his way here. Archers against the Attel Takeda and a swarm. There's another Attel Takeda hitting with the swarm, and there's a Luca with a Ethelfled. There's an Ethelfled behind the Saladin, an archer in here. So this is looking like a good attack for the folks in red. They need to start taking buildings away from OV. They need to start bringing OV down in terms of the points per minute to close this 2,700 point lead that OV have. And look at the machine coming in as Pearl brings in 4 marches towards here, and if Pearl doesn't notice, these marches are gonna just hit this and go home, but Pearl does. There goes 1, there goes 2, there goes 3. They're ready to rock and roll. The swarm on the Sky Altar, very dangerous for OV. Big push here by JST. Can they take the building? It looks like this building is going down very, very, very quickly. OV, what is going on? The building is coming down, and a lot of open field presence here by OV. A little bit of reinforcements in the building. Slow down the pace. This is great. That's what OV need. They need to keep bringing people into the building so that there's a little bit more time for more reinforcements to come in. But this pressure by JST is so hard. Cavalry going in the building at this stage. And oh boy, this building is not looking good at all. OV in real trouble. Let's take a look really quickly at the reaction of OV on the other side of the map. The Sky Altar on the other side is also being taken down by OV. There's a lot of JST presence in here, including some marches ready to refill the building. If they lose this building, it would be an even trade. An open field march is trying to get rid of it to go home quicker, I guess. And in that sense, the Sky Altar, OV are still holding on to it by the skin of their teeth. There is a rally and a Attel Takeda rally, and the open field has gone down quite drastically, and Lucas Attel Takeda is out of here, and there is a Joan of Arc buffing here with a Richard. I was like, wow. With this El Cid, there is a Hannibal Barca with some debuffs. There is an infantry Guan Leonidas in here, and Tao El Cid. Okay, I like it. I like the thinking. But this is why I say you have to keep joining the building. The more they keep joining the building, the more time folks have to come in and keep refilling it again and again. This is the biggest thing that OV have done so far that has shown their true experience. They know that they need to hold on to the building first, and then once they have enough security in the building, they can start clearing the open field. They kept refilling the building, going in, filling it up, not fighting against the marches outside until they know they have enough in the building so that they can take out the open field and then have the rally get milked once more. And what do you know? That Artemisia Theodora held. Unbelievable. On the other hand, the Shrine of Life had a tougher time. A minute ago, JST managed to yoink it away from OV. So 80 points per minute in favor of the red team right now. Let's take a look at the other side. Sky Altar, it has also held very good stuff, but not enough from the folks in red. The folks in red really need to figure out how they get more aggressive in the buildings game. If they don't get their buildings game together, they are going to lose this match. OV are doing exactly what they need to do. And let's take a look at this. This is a huge pressure here by OV in this building. Let's see if JST managed to hold on to the building the same way OV did. And the way you do that is, first and foremost, focus on the building. Focus on making sure you have the troops in the building for the building to keep staying yours. Every single second is more points per minute that go into your team. Even if you lose the building at the end, holding it for another 20 seconds. If it's a Desert Altar, for example, it's extra 50 points that you still made by just holding the building. Take a look at how the health bar of this thing is going up. It goes down and then back up, goes down and then back up. And now that it has a little bit of breathing room, JST can now start using their marches to clear the field and also keep refilling the building. This is exactly what we needed to see. This is everything we needed to see. In this scenario, first and foremost, secure the building. Once the building is secured enough, you then go to the next stage, which is rally, rally, rally. Slouty's Attila Takeda rally made it to this side. If you don't know how it got here, if you don't know how it got here, the answer is very simple. When you swarm a building, there are a total of 10 spots for swarm. If you look, they go all around the building. What's the problem here? The problem is if you swarm the building with 10 marches before the rally hits, the rally is going to go around the building to look for an empty spot to hit. OV swarmed the building and didn't leave Slouty's rally enough space to get in. And as a result, the rally went all the way around. It took it a little bit until it started hitting, and that gave JST an extra advantage. Always allow space for your rally to hit, and preferably, you should probably let your rally hit first and take the brunt damage. Looks like JST are going to bail on this building altogether. They're willing to give up their Shrine of War for some reason. It looks like they just bailed towards the middle. 2 minutes remaining for the middle. I mean, they could still defend this quite comfortably, but they're not going to do so. Shrine of War goes down in favor of the blue team. Big, big problem. I saw that an obelisk somewhere got taken out, but hey, an obelisk means very, very little if you haven't used your teleports. Both teams with 2 teleports in the 30th minute available. Big mistakes by both teams. These should not be happening. Folks should have exactly the time they're teleporting and be ready to teleport. Both teams with 2 available teleports means very, very, very big problems. 10 marches on each side are marching back and forth for 3 long minutes. OV are now, the fight in the middle is starting 1.5 minutes early, and OV dropped the skill early on to try to get rid of the early presence of JST. What they don't see yet is the second wave coming in, but I'm assuming there's a second blue wave on its way as well. And to make matters worse, there was a lot of blue presence coming from the back of red as well. Red do take their Shrine of War back, which is good for, they need that Shrine of War, the Shrine of War. They are going to need it very badly in the middle. On the other side of the map, wow, Shrine of Life goes in favor of OV, who take the building and now start moving towards the middle. All of the fights are going to go towards the middle, and it looks like they're going to swarm the Desert Altar instead of going for the middle. That's a great play. I think that would work out very well for them if this swarm manages to somehow take out a Desert Altar that's a bit weaker. That could be really problematic. Oh boy, OV taking the Sky Altar away from JST. And now things are getting really bad as JST are 210 points per minute behind. They are committing a lot towards the middle, but OV is behind the temple. OV is behind red. Oh boy, this is where things get really bad. Really, really, really bad. If this middle doesn't get taken care by the folks in JST and they cannot progress or even delay this arc while taking their buildings back, they're going to be in a huge problem. At this stage for OV, what matters the most, quite honestly, is 1 second. I need to unclearion. Please go watch someone else. I don't need a backseat camera. Thank you. Appreciate you. With that being said, OV are not really in need of this arc. OV, honestly, own a big part of the map. They're ahead by 310 points per minute. In less than 10 minutes, this Ark is going to be insignificant, and they still have the Ark on top of that. For JST, this is trouble on trouble on trouble. They're losing the points per minute buildings, and now they're going to lose the Ark potentially, and there's no balancing in here. There's absolutely no balancing. They now are in trouble, in deep trouble. They either get the Ark but lose the points per minute game, and within 10 minutes, by the time they get this Ark, though, that Ark will not be significant anymore, or they take their buildings back but lose the Ark. At a 2,000 point lead, this Ark is nice, but I mean, within 5 minutes, the folks of OV are right back on the horse and ahead in this match. And so let's take a quick peek at what's going on in here. Let's go look very briefly if there's more reinforcements coming in. Red team coming in strong in the back. We're starting to see massive lag as obviously Rise of Kingdoms starts crashing. Every time there is crazy fights, Rise of Kingdoms crashes. The emulator is a fantastic one. We did try out LD player, and we will be switching to it for the next cast. We already set it up and ready to rock and roll. And so at this point, it doesn't matter, it's okay. At this point, the problem is buildings are down and middle is down. You cannot have both down. You can lose the middle but win the buildings. You can win the buildings but win the middle but potentially lose a little bit of the buildings, not too much of them. But if you're losing both, there's no way out of it. There's absolutely no way out of it. And so which one is the more important one to focus on? Remember that the points per minute are every single minute. So you don't have to do anything. You'll still gain points. We can use this quick little break to look at what's going on in the matches. UCS taking a lead back in action. OV still ahead. 49F finally getting ahead of Titans. HKL way ahead of S654. The squad beating up, well, a little bit ahead. 3,000 points against TN. JWM with a strong lead against Rays, and SNO taking a 4,000 point loss so far to 411K, and MTO way ahead in their match. Let's get back into this as the middle was firing up. Delayed detection, please. Thank you. Appreciated. Let's go. Where is the Ark? The Ark is right here chilling. It was dropped by OV. There's a lot of red presence here. But there's also some blue, and blue are still trickling in. Have I tried LD player? I have. I already installed it and set it up. Everything is ready to rock and roll. I just didn't have time today to actually open it up and fix it up and do all the good stuff. Next stream on Wednesday, we'll start using LD player instead. The folks in JST have a good situation in the middle, but they now have to start taking the Ark back into their side. OV are pouring in. OV have a great timing on how they come into the middle, and they keep taking the Ark away from JST. Every time JST have a slight lead in the middle, there's more trickling OV players than there are red players. They need to start moving this Ark a little bit towards their side, or else they're just going to keep getting swarmed over and over and over. OV dropping the Ark for the... I know that I literally just said you want to target the Ark carrier consistently, but the problem is OV just keep pouring marches in, and the more the Ark goes this way, the more marches keep pouring in compared to JST's. JST, though, did, in the meantime, do a great job at getting their buildings back, and they will, in a few moments, get all of their points per minute evened up with OV, who are now 3,000 points in the lead, not the biggest, craziest, most unexpected, most uncomebackable lead on Earth, but with 3,000 points and 24 minutes remaining, I have yet to see JST take a building from OV beyond the first building, first occupation. And that is going to be a huge problem. If they cannot take the Arks and they cannot take buildings away from OV, what can you do, right? There's nothing you can do. The points per minute game is probably one of the more important ones, as, again, while all of these guys are fighting in here, they're still gaining points. They don't need to be anywhere else but in the middle. And it looks like, again, look at the map. JST are not attacking anywhere on the map. Nowhere on the map is being attacked. And so aren't OV. But OV are 380 points per minute in the lead, and they'll continually have that for, even if it's only 3 minutes, that is still 1,000 points that they're making more than the folks in red. Now, the folks in red did pick up the Ark and instantly got it dropped. The reason for that is I look at the difference. Look at what happened here. We went from a red cloud to a blue cloud. And in this blue cloud, now, even if you target John Wick as much as you humanly want, it will not work. There's a lot of presence by OV here. Now you got to target an Ark carrier, and in the meantime, all of this madness is trying to hit you. Of course, they'll probably more than likely drop John Wick right there, and they'll probably drop down the next Ark carrier too. But I mean, if OV are doing what I know they're doing, they're targeting Atela Takeda's, for example. Look at this. There's a Tamaris going up against an Atela Takeda, trying to just destroy it because they know how important it'll be to take down that Atela Takeda. Even though I can promise to you that Tamaris is being whooped, but she's still hitting it because they all targeted that Atela Takeda. And now that the Atela Takeda is out, it's an easier time for OV. Now again, picking up the Ark and keeping on moving on. You lose it every time 2 steps forward. It means that, yeah, look. It means that marches can keep coming back again and again and again and again. And oh my goodness gracious, OV are just not letting this Ark go. While that's going down, Shrine of Life is being contested by OV. They're not only focusing in the middle. JST are definitely focusing in the middle more than OV are. And there's a big swarm in here with a debuffer and a buffer march on top of all that with this Attila Chandragupta by the looks of it. And it's looking okay. There's a debuffer trying to hit to do more damage to this Attila Chandragupta, but the swarm is doing massive amount of damage. The good thing for the folks in red is that they're doing everything they can to take points away from OV through the outposts, but that's too little too late. You need to be able to get more than a 60 point per minute lead in order to close this 4,000 point gap, which is about to go up to 7,500 points gap, because this Ark is 3,500 points. OV seem to be almost done clearing JST out of here just like earlier, and once more they will be able to take an Ark all the way home. And in the meantime, JST keep trickling in, trying to do something about this Ark and not taking buildings away from OV. Taking a look at rallies, OV with 1, JST with 1. JST is battling, OV is battling their own thing, and JST are just now reaching the Shrine of War of OVs. And honestly, even if OV lose the Shrine of War, it's not the biggest of deals for them right now, as they are focused on getting the Ark of Osiris taken care of, and they'll more than likely be successful at delivering it into their own desert altar. And to make matters worse, he took the Shrine of Life away from JST. JST taking an obelisk out at this point in the match, it's not a big deal. This obelisk is worth 20 points per minute, and honestly is really, really not worth your time or effort at this point in time, just because it's only 20 points. You're not going to need teleports anymore, and spoiler alert, both teams still have more teleports. The folks in blue have 1 more unused than the folks in red. With 3,500 point lead, about to be a 7,000 point lead for OV. Trouble for JST. It's not over just yet. With 20 minutes, there's still time for 1 more Ark, which can close this gap very, very, very much. And there's still time for the folks in JST to put the pressure on OV and take a building away from them. The problem here is you're running out of time, and time is your biggest enemy more than anything else. Taking a building away from your enemy in the last 3 minutes is great because you're taking away points from them, but at the same time, you don't have enough time to make your own points. So there is a very important balance of how you play Ark of Osiris and timings of doing things, and JST right now need to take buildings away from OV drastically. And look at OV. Look at this, like, mini cloud of blue on its way to this desert altar, which already has some people. There's a Shrine of War, which already has some people in it. There is JST presence nearby, but woily OV, they rest in peace my Oryx on JST, I think. I'm not so sure just yet. There's still plenty of time to come back into this one, and there's 1 more Ark. The points per minute game has stopped bleeding out the folks in red, and now they're actually gaining some points, trying to close down a 7,000 point lead for OV. Someone mentioned something about provisioning. We'll take a peek at provisioning momentarily and see who's doing what, but with 18 minutes remaining, provisioning is not still something we talk about, and quite frankly, provisioning will do nothing if one team is 9,000-10,000 points ahead of the other one, because every single minute that goes around, there's more and more points gained by the one team. Thankfully, this time around for the folks in red, it is them gaining 30 points per minute every single minute more than OVR. OV are about to swarm the life out of this Shrine of War, and I want you to keep an eye on this march right here. Yep, on this march right here. Do you see it rotating around? See this guy rotating around? He found one? Nice. Look at these guys. See all of these guys? What they're doing is they're rotating around and waiting for a spot to be able to hit the building. While they rotate around, they're not doing any damage, and they're taking AoE damage if there is one in the building. They're getting targeted by open field marches, and so when you're going to swarm a building, you really want to make sure that you send 10 marches and the rest of them are doing fights around the building. And if there's a rally, you want to make sure that one of those 10 is the rally, and preferably the first one to hit. So with all of this going on, it looks like there's a massive brawl in here that OV is probably going to be successful at this Shrine of War attack. And they're also attacking a Desert Altar, which is not going to be a successful hit right there. JST going for a Shrine of Life attack, and this attack is looking strong, but OV have found themselves in worse positions than held in the past. There are 2 marches here ready to rock and roll and get into the archer-based building in case they need to. So there is reinforcements in the area, and there are infantry and cavalry marches around to fight the open field swarm. This Shrine of Life doesn't seem to be in a good shape at all. Even if there is some building, these folks right here managed to get in the building, it's probably going to go down in favor of the red team. And finally, we see a blue building turning red in this match, and 130 points per minute lead is what they need to close the 7,100 point gap. But the Shrine of War that is red is gonna turn blue momentarily. There's a lot of blue presence here. Where are they going? They're going for the obelisk? Hello? What? What? Where are you going? Did he teleport here? Am I crazy? What? Okay. Well, someone lost a train of thought, I guess, or something like that. I lost my train of thought with that. Oh my goodness gracious. JST are doing good holding on to their Shrine of War. Very impressive. There was a huge swarm by OV here, but there was no rally, which made it a little bit easier to hold on to the building. Yes, this guy picked up the obelisk away from JST. Let's give him a one clapper. Congrats. There you go. Congratulations. You've just put 4 marches out of trying to take the Shrine of War and took an obelisk worth 20 points. Okay. It's even better if those marches went out to take these outposts, it would have given more return to OV than a obelisk. But that's okay. Both teams with 4 teleports. You're not taking anything away from the red team by taking their obelisk away. Here comes the rally after a long time. Slouty finally arrives. And once more, it looks like JST are marching towards the middle, neglecting this building. Hopefully it's full. I hope for them it's full. People are coming out of the building in the middle of a rally about to hit it. Zhang in here swarming the rally. There is 3 minutes until the Ark. Folks are positioning towards the middle already. Both OV and JST are already here. This fight is going to start way ahead of time. And defensive skill. I thought that was an offensive skill. I was like, wait, what? The folks in red are doing everything within their power to hold on for dear life. They are less than 7,000 points behind, and they can still make a comeback into this with an Ark, but they have a big problem. Every single time the middle goes down, OV outclass JST, and while they do that, they take a bunch of buildings ahead of time to make JST's life harder. And look at that right here. It is happening again. The Desert Altar seems to be in an okay shape. I don't know what Luca's... hello? Luca? What you doing, my man? Luca is having a little bit of trouble in there, and so is Shrine of Life. Looks very well secured this time around. JST doing kind of the same thing. Luca's rally unsuccessful on the Sky Altar. A rally on the Shrine of War seems to be also unsuccessful, and even not taking... They don't care about it, but hey, this is going to be a fairly close rally right there. If JST can take that away, that would be a very interesting building to take. Here comes the War Drums. JST are going on the aggressive mode. They are going to swarm a first march. Who did they choose? They chose John Wick's infantry march out of them all. There's an Atil Takeda in here. There are so many. Oh my, look at the skills. Just Everything starts shining in craziness. Ladies and gentlemen, one of the closest, it doesn't look close, but it's been one of the closest matches I've seen in a little bit, as JST are going up against the Osiris League champion in OV. If you're enjoying the cast, don't forget to drop a like on the stream. I see 400 plus of you beautiful people in here. If you're new to the channel, welcome. I hope you enjoy this cast, and we hopefully will have one more later tonight. And we've been casting every single match that we can, and we'll be casting the top 16 all the way to the finals. With all that being said, it looks like we're about to lag out. Madness in the middle once more. JST cannot let the ball drop. They need the Ark to go in their side and need to start running, and they need to do it quick. The folks of OV have an easier time bringing marches to the middle than the folks in JST do. This march is gonna potentially, if this defense holds, it's gonna be by the skin of its teeth. And the problem is OV realized that, and some folks are rotating in to try to defend it, to try to help this attack. Someone's marching straight towards the building. There's Lucas Wuzetian is on her way here, but he targeted the building straight up. Prof, Hatter, come on. There you go, Hatter. You must have noticed that this is a great opportunity for you to potentially take a Desert Altar away. This rally is still hitting the Shrine of War unsuccessfully. The Ark will appear in 15 seconds. We're about to lag out. Ladies and gentlemen, the madness in this match is real. And the Ark pops up. Let's see who drops it and which side and who's going to take it first. The folks in red need this Ark. If they don't get this Ark, they're going to have a very, 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 very hard time to come back into this. Once more, OV coming from behind on JST. JST need to pick up this Ark and start moving backwards, but no. OV drop it on their side, and of course we lag out, but that's okay. When OV dropped it on their side, there was plenty of red marches there to take it out, so I promise to you we won't miss a single thing. That march is going down just like that, and just after that, one more march is going to come in and take care of business, and we're going to get right back in the action. Do not worry, we have everything we need. We have priority to get into matches. We have the whitelist availability. We can get into any match whenever needed in order to provide you the best content available for Ark of Osiris casts. Let's go take a look at Osiris League really fast. OV always sandwiches in the middle. That is correct. They have been continually sandwiching them in the middle, but that's because JST's timings have been just off. Instead of taking care of that, of the folks in the Shrine of War, they go to the middle too early, and they allow the folks that come in late into the Shrine of War to come in and sandwich them. And so OV have the Ark right now. It is straight to the side of the Temple of Osiris. It hasn't moved to either direction yet. And the folks in red really need to get the Ark under their control. They need to pick it up right now and start moving it backwards while they still have somewhat of a decent presence compared to their previous presence against OV in the middle. Here comes a pickup by JST. Time to rock and roll. Walk backwards. Go, 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 JST. This is your time to shine, and that Ark is moving. It is moving, and it's going to drop very quickly, but it is moving. It gave a little bit of time. Look at these OV marches. They're just standing here waiting for someone to pick up an Ark and insta target that march. The problem is, look at the frowny faces coming in on either side. I see 3, 4, 5 on the red side, and very little blue ones coming out, ladies and gentlemen. There is our first frowny since I said that. For every 2, 3, there is 3 frownies, 4 frownies. There we go. 3 frownies for the blues and 3 for red, but there were 6 before that were red too. The sad face, the frowny faces, the red marches are getting picked off one by one. A small tip for those of you playing in the middle: a middle team doesn't have to be one team. A middle team can be split into 3 middle teams. If you have 5 marches in the middle, 3 people, 15 marches, target the 1 march. You have 3 individuals. If your middle team is 6 people, let's say, you can take 2 people per march, and you guarantee that 10 marches are hitting the same march. That's what OV are doing. If you take a look, it's 3 at a time, every single time. Every single time you'll find 3 frownies at a time. Why? Because 2 to 3 people are sending all their marches on this, all their marches on that, all their marches on this, and there's someone calling out of the people that are fighting in the middle which march to target, and they target it. And so that's how you see these teams manage to clear people out, because JST is not is not necessarily focusing on the same players, or they're all focusing on the one guy, while OV divided their middle into small pods of 10 marches, and the pods of 10 marches each hit an individual march together. 10v1, knock it out, 3 pods, 1, 2, 3, 1. Come on, where's the other 2? Hello? Wait. 2, 3, there, look, 3 at a time. Every single time you'll find them in the groups of 3. Why? Because you keep targeting the stronger marches, and that's how OV managed to continually take arcs. And with this arc going in favor of OV, JST are in a lot of trouble. They're right now at 4,600 points worth of a deficit, and it's about to go up to 8,600 points worth of a deficit. Someone had mentioned that JST are doing some provisioning, which I am seeing a provisioner here. Let's go see if we can find ourselves really quickly some provisioners. We saw 1 march so far. Where are the rest of our provisioners? Let's go look on this side. 2, 3. 3 marches doing provisioning at this point right now. Do we see more down this way? Let's see. 4 marches doing provisioning at this point in time. So I see 4 red marches provisioning. And on the other hand, OV, I believe, don't have anyone. Maybe they have someone somewhere along here. But even if the red team provisioned and the blue team did not provision at all, 8,000 points is a heck of a lot of provisioning to have to catch up to. And it's not going to be easy at all, especially with only a 20 point per minute lead in terms of the points per minute game. Let's see what you guys have to say. My first league match I've watched, it's pretty brutal. Yeah, it's a very, 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 very coordinated match. If you're not at the tip of the top, you're going to get wrecked. And it takes a lot of focus. It takes a lot of experience. Look at this. Look. It takes a lot of experience, time, and coordination, and understanding of game mechanics beyond just strategy to be able to pull off something like OV are doing right here. This is an OV train of people. And even if John Wick drops the Ark right next to the OV Desert Altar, there's nothing that can be done. The only thing that could be really crazy if it's JST right now start rallying this building and they start swarming it to the point where OV start panic filling the building and not leaving space for the Ark to come in. But the Ark is gonna drop, almost gonna get escorted successfully, and really this is just the delay on the inevitable. Even though the point gap has dropped quite significantly, it's now at 3,300 points. It's about to go up to 7,300 points, and when that happens, there's gonna be very little provisioning that are gonna be able to save this match. 5 minutes remaining into it, and this is probably the first time you can truly start saying, okay, OV, okay, you guys are doing okay. This is not bad. Rip my bet. Yeah, rip my bet too. I definitely put a little bit of coins on JST because you never know. And honestly, a 7,000 point difference between these two teams is not something to be ashamed of. A lot of bigger teams lost much worse to OV, and so yeah, it looks like OV are going to be able to secure their victory. Let's really quickly, before we continue casting this match, there's about 5 minutes remaining on this match for it until its end. Let's really quickly go take a peek. 10k points provisioning incoming. I don't believe that. Let's go really quickly take a peek at the rest of the matches and what their score is, and then we'll come back into this match. As we go take a look, PTOL are very far behind against UCS, who took back control of their match. 49F are defeating the Titans by a big margin as well. HKL as well, doing what HKL does best. Well, one of the things that they do best. No disrespect to them. Shout out to HKL. They're cool peeps. 341 in a very big lead against Titans. JWM, an 11,000 point lead, but Rays definitely putting in points on this match. Very impressive by Rays. The folks in SNO losing by a 13,000 point differential to 411K, and MTO beating TTF by 15,000 points. Now let's go take a look back at OV versus JST as the final moments are here, and the Ark was delivered in favor of OV. They have 3 Arks compared to the 1 of JST. JST are taking buildings left and right. They are at 100 and 60 points per minute in favor of them. But with 3 minutes remaining, that's all but, you know, it's all but done at this stage in terms of the points per minute game. They can take away points per minute from OV, but they will not anymore get themselves more points to potentially come back into this. With that being said, I see some of you already doing it. Let's get a nice little GG spam in the chat for the folks of OV and JST for a great match. And congratulations to OV on the victory. They had a snafu, a hiccup in their last match, but now they're back in full swing and they're going to make it out to the playoffs. That is right. I don't bet a lot. I want to keep my precious money to myself. This is not money bets. It's Auric bets. It's fictitious coins you get by playing the game. There's no money involved in Osiris League betting. Let's get those GGs up in the air for both teams, and congrats again to OV for that massive for a victory it's deserved. It's absolutely deserved. But it was scary. It was scary. JST started strong, and it's that experience of OV that allowed them to recompose and make it back into the match. A match that they have done before twice now. They've been top 16 twice now, and now they are just ready to rock and roll to get into that top 16 and move on to the playoffs. A minute and a half remaining. We can keep an eye on the points per minute as they are going on the points overall, as they are going up a little bit for the folks in red. The gap is down to 5,500 points. The gap is down to 5,500 points, and look at the skill being procced and the parade coming down the field right here as these folks are defended and attacked, and just they're coming in for the Shrine of War just for the fun of it. The points per minute is indeed the points per minute. The points per minute are in favor of the red team, and the points overall are closing down. The gap is closing up a bit. We're looking at less than 6,000 points, 5,300 points worth of a difference. But at this stage, it doesn't matter how much JST gather. With 50 seconds remaining, there is gathering marches in here that should probably go home, especially if it's an infantry march like this dude right here who's not even going to make it home. You might want to make it home in order for those points to count. This march right here is barely going to get home, but this one is absolutely not making it. And so rest in peace to gathering this dude did right here. 28 seconds remaining. The points are still trickling in. We're looking at less than 5,000 points now worth of a difference. But again, it's too hard. It's too hard, especially at this big of a rate. Think about it this way. Without an Ark, this would have been right now a 700 point match for OV, and that would be anyone's game in that scenario. But too little too late, dropping it to 4,500 points, 4,200 points, and GG's. OV take the victory. If you guys enjoyed the cast, of course, don't forget to drop a like on it before you leave. Most of you in the match, and just close the thing, and that's it. I'd appreciate if you hit that like button before you go. Let's look at the scoreboard as JST healed a massive amount. The kills versus deaths was very, very, very close. They did a fantastic job at going back and forth, but you can see where the game was won, and that is straight up Ark. Straight up Ark. 8,000 points in provisioning would have been amazing, and winning the buildings game, occupation game, due to a first occupation 750 bonus, that's really what saved JST. But with 10,500 points from Ark, it's just impossible to come back into this. You must have at least one Ark, or at least slow them down so they don't get 3 of them. Looking at the scoreboard, it looks like this match was fairly even. One teleport missing for OV. That could come bite them in the butt on a team that is potentially going for a deep playoffs plays. Let's go take a quick peek at the scoreboard, and what do we got going on? No schedule. So JST losing to OV secures OV's second placement in Group B. And with that, we know now that OV are gonna end up going up against G1, and G1 is none other than C9N. That is right. C9N against OV in the bracket top 16. Oh boy, the rematch is real. It's about to go down. 374K will go up against the folks of none other than LIIG. LIIG getting the better deal out of the two, although don't you discount 374 out. A deadly combination right here. JWM taking first place and Raze second in Group C means that JWM are going to go up against 411S. 411S is their fight in the next match and in their next on the top 16 playoffs. PTAL losing to UCS means PTAL are out and UCS are in. And UCS being a Group F1, they're going to go up against none other than the folks in Raze. That is right. Raze against breathe. Raze again. Who was it? We were OV. Raze against C2 was I forgot where we were. Against F1, which is the folks in UCS. Now, when it comes to BBTH and Rose, BBTH D1 and Rose D2 are going to go against the E teams all respectively. So D1 against E2 means BBTH are going to take Snow and Rose are going to go up against 411K. And continuing through and through, we've seen most of these. HKL and 341 squad making it to the top 16. Not good for them. Shout out to the folks in the squad. HKL in H1 and the folks of squad in H2 means that the A folks are going to go up against them. Squad against 108 and 1AVG against HKL. That is going to be a crazy match. That's coming up next week. We still have one more match to go. That match is at the final match, the 17 UTC 108 against TOA. We will most likely be casting it, although I have massive amounts of work to get done, so maybe not. For now, I appreciate every single one of you. Drop a like on this video, subscribe to the channel, became part of the community. If you have any feedback, anything, this VOD will be available. You can comment on it with feedback on the cast. And of course, all of our VODs are available for you to review in case you want to review footage on how teams play. And yeah, we'll see you guys on the next cast. And if not, tomorrow on a video, because we upload Rise of Kingdoms every single day. And we stream Wednesdays, some Rise of Kingdoms too, and Saturdays. Take care. Have a great rest of your weekend. And thank you for all the continued support. What a crazy stream we had. We peaked at 455 people. That was a very, very, very nice stream. Indestructive game. I'm out. See you guys. I appreciate you, Daniel. Let's talk after. We need to talk about Ark. I heard a few things about our team. Y'all have a good one and take care.